First and Now is the official BC Lions podcast and radio show on 730 CKNW, and it's presented by World Vision Canada. Join the BC Lions at the Walk for Water event on October 5th at McLeod Stadium in Langley. Find out how you could win a 2026 road trip for two with the team by participating. Time's winding down. Visit bclions.com/6K for details. Just a few days away, and we'll talk more about that with one of the men spearheading it, BC Lions wide receiver Jevon Cottoy, our guest this week on First and Now. It is Matt Baker alongside the MOJ and Nik Kowalski. First three-game winning streak since July of 2024, and it's coming at a great time, MOJ.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, I've kind of harped on throughout the course of the year, and that this team is going to get stronger as the season progresses. I mean, new coaching staff, new general manager, you got to find out what you can and can't do with your personnel. And this team is starting to play well, particularly on the defensive side. And again, we've seen some recent additions in Bradley and I, who is Pro Football Focus's Player of the Week, Levi Bell, Matthew Betts. I mean, don't kid yourself if you don't think Betts' production in the last three games is somewhat related to the arrival of Levi Bell and Bradley and I. So it's looking good, and hopefully they can keep building on it.
Yeah, and I was rewatching chunks of the game yesterday, and even see TJ Lee making a nice tackle there, forcing Toronto to settle for a field goal early on. And good to see TJ worked into the mix, Nicky. But yeah, that's a playoff type victory right there. It's not always going to be an oil painting. It's not always going to be pretty, but complimentary football still wins the day.
Nathan Rourke and Buck Pierce were literally talking about that post game too, right? And Nathan openly admitted, he was like, "Yeah, I've watched Bucks games in Winnipeg in these past years, and there's always one or two every year where you're like, how did they win that game? Because if you watch the game and you've seen that looks like they're getting dominated in two or three phases."
You mean like maybe a game where they only complete three passes and still wind up winning?
Yes, yeah. Beating around the bush. That's an exact. But there's been a couple of those over the years for the Blue Bombers, and that's what I think makes them such a great team over the years, is that they find ways to get the win at the end of the day. And defensively, the stark difference for me in comparison to that August 23rd game back in Toronto was there was explosive plays for the Argonauts all game long, right? And they were scoring touchdowns on 1-2 play drives, 70-yard passes, all of that. You could tell that this defense made a big emphasis to have everything happen in front of them, right? And rally to the ball, right? Nick Arbuckle only completed one pass above 20 yards, and Spencer Brown, the running back, at a 20-yard reception, but a lot of that was yak yardage, right? And rallying to the ball. And then the finish, right? Matthew Betts at the end.
Well, to me, the big story of that game, personally, was you mentioned finish. And it was finish on both sides of the ball. It was finish on defense by creating the turnover, and even finish on offense. And as good as the offense has played, there have been a couple of games where they had an opportunity to finish the game. Namely Hamilton. They had a 2-and-out, gave the ball back to Hamilton. We all know what happened there. Ottawa, they had the ball in Ottawa territory. They had an opportunity to finish there. Of course, they tried the field goal. Were unsuccessful. But the nice part for me is you talk about complementary football. Defense stepped up when they had to, got a turnover, and then the offense finished as well. So for me, that's probably the biggest takeaway from this game, was that the Lions had finish on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and emphasizing the word finish, like the aggression at the end. Sneak it with Nathan Rourke on a 3rd and 1 to give the Lions a fresh set of downs and kill more clock.
What an effort, though, by Nathan.
Yeah.
I thought Wynn McManus, I stopped calling the play.
Yeah.
I'm like, Wynn McManus, and then all of a sudden he just kind of rolls and spins, and the next thing you know, it's a first down. And, conversally, I think they're probably going to touch on this second effort. How about Xander Horvath on the play before?
Going to go there, yeah.
Huge. Yeah. Huge. We talked about it going into this week that, Butler has really been the feature back, the workhorse, right? A lot of touches, and over time, over 14 games, the body is naturally going to wear down. And to have a guy like Xander Horvath, especially with fresh legs, come into the fourth quarter there, I think that's exactly why Horvath, he's a big body to begin with, but it's exactly why he was able to grind out those hard yards, earn a first down after that second down play. But the Nathan Rourke element, it was like there needs to be like a like the Godzilla and King Kong like movie posters where they're like clashing. Like, needs to remake one of Wynn McManus and Nathan Rourke, like two superstar players clashing on a 3rd and 1, and the best man ultimately won in Nathan Rourke.
That's not a bad marketing initiative there.
It's better than my Pickett ball idea with a Darius Pickett.
I like that. And you go back to an extra an extra week ago, one more week ago, going in to Calgary. James Butler, of course, is hurt. And it's okay. Let's see what Xander Horvath can do. It went from okay, what's he gonna do? 70-yard touchdown run, average. What was it? 12.7 a carry. So then it all of a sudden became, how do you find a way to utilize this player still once James Butler is back in the lineup going into the playoffs? If we have to go outside, perhaps win in cold weather, having someone of Xander Horvath's capability still on this roster could be a big chip to play with.
Well, I think they want to get Xander Horvath on the roster, and I say that because clearly if you're playing some high-stakes football here in the next month and a half, and James Butler is your only running back on the roster and he gets hurt, well, now you're in a bit of a pickle because it's either going to be Seven McGee or Riley Pickett. And with all due respect to those guys, they're not Xander Horvath, right? So somehow, some way, you're going to see Xander Horvath on this roster just as an insurance policy. And as you mentioned, James Butler, I mean, he's a little banged up, of course, over the grind of a CFL season, and to have Xander Horvath on the active roster as an insurance policy is something nice that the Lions have.
Yeah, and they're I mean, being led on offense. Keon Hatcher now is 1,400 yards. I think it's the quietest 1,400 yards.
7. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
He would have had like about probably, I want to say at least 2, maybe even 3 or 4 highlight reel 60, 70-yard touchdown catches. And he got tackled on the one. I know he's been tackled on the one twice at least. I want to say maybe even 3 times this year.
In the last 2 games, at least twice.
Yeah. There was one in the Hamilton game at home in July too, where I think Katz and Tonis just tripped him up, and it would have been like a 90-yard score. But Hatch is well over 1,400 now. Justin McInnes hits 1,000 yards for the second consecutive year. That's a huge accomplishment. It felt like milestone night, right? We had James Butler going for 1,000 rushing yards, Michael Awe 100 tackles. TJ Lee is approaching 600 for those keeping track at home. So it's just great to see that you're trying to find your stride. I know we have a big game that we're going to preview and upcoming here, but the team seems to be finding its stride. A 3-game win streak just speaks to that.
Absolutely. And shout out to Jill, our social media gal. There were all these milestones, all these graphics to put out, all this copy to get in, and she was a trooper. Going back and forth from her little workstation to the bench, doing photos, everything. So, yeah, Jill had her most productive game too. All these milestones.
No, right? Most definitely. And there's also the touchdown Kelowna and Lions and Langford announcement that happened mid-game. Obviously, so some great reaction to that. I don't know if you want to touch on that briefly here, but that's another announcement that happened with Wayne Vanneau mid-game. And yeah, a lot going on in Lions land. Yeah,
let's go there. We have a few minutes in this opening segment. We will talk more about a big one, huge, can't emphasize it enough. A rematch with Calgary, the Gravy Bowl, a battle for second in the West Division, a win here, and could potentially have the inside track to hosting a playoff game. But had a feeling this was coming for a while. Touchdown Kelowna coming in 2026. 2 games in the Okanagan. And Moj, just your thoughts. If it's anything like Touchdown Pacific was last summer, should be a heck of a time.
Yeah, I'm sure that the Lions organization will go about it the right way, much like they did in Victoria. Kelowna obviously is a great summer destination for so many people from not only the Lower Mainland, but from Alberta as well. I know, obviously, with myself having my tournament back in the day up at the Harvest for like about 7 years, it's a great place in the summer. It just has a really cool vibe, and it's going to be a lot of fun to be up there during the course of the summer for a few weeks to see the Lions play, and of course get the Apple Bowl expanded probably to about 15 or 20,000, whatever the number may be. But it's going to be a really, really cool environment. Kelowna, looking forward to it.
You should bring the shootout back. Might be the time.
Hey, I'm just saying, you never know. You never know. We could wind up just doing just that.
If the bye week maybe happens right
bye week
that,
right in there. Well, you talk to the press and see if you can get the bye week in between a couple of games. And it wouldn't surprise me in the least having the bye week during that time that we're away from BC Place Stadium. So who knows?
I would expect at least one in there somewhere. Nikki, obviously you saw firsthand how much fun it was in Victoria, and you did a great job yourself. I'm giving Jill all the flowers here, but props to you last week. I know you were tight to deadline working on that Kelowna video. Just your excitement level to add another stadium off your bucket list in the CFL.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I think what are we at now? 11 for me? You guys have me by a lot, naturally, but right?
9 plus Kelowna and Langford.
Oh, Langford, yeah, 11. But I haven't had the off-site games like you guys had because, well, there was like Canadians back in the day, Rogers,
I did Taylor Field, so that's
I did.
12.
Oh yeah, I did. I did.
I
Taylor
actually
Field, yeah.
went to a game at Taylor Field as a fan, so that counts for me, I would say, right?
You know,
Ever win?
I've been to Olympics, so that's 13.
Skydome.
Skydome, I haven't been to Skydome for a
Really?
CFL game. No.
Me neither.
I was going to say though,
Canadians?
no, not even in Winnipeg, not at the old stadium. No.
06
The
Grey
one
Cup.
that I
you were-
missed though, I do miss not going to Iverwin. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I kind of look back and go, I wish I would have gone to Iverwin because I heard it was really a unique experience.
Went to Iverwin as a fan in 2006. I was out there doing some internship stuff at TSN, and it was like pouring rain. It was 2006, so the Lions were wiping the floor with everybody. Hamilton was on their way to a 3-15 season, and the place was packed.
Mm-hmm.
Like those fans, I left that thinking those fans. Buck started at quarterback because Dave Dickinson was injured. Then Jarius Jackson came in. Iverwin. That was hardcore. The current venue, Hamilton Stadium, is a pretty fun place to go, but Iverwin, just a different vintage. But bringing it back here to Kelowna, though, it's just it's a tribute to Dwayne as well as our owner Amar Doman for making something out of this World Cup situation, Nick, and not being inside BC Place for a handful of weeks.
Yeah, I think that's what's at the forefront of this news too, is that, we talk about being the British Columbia Lions, and that just shows it to a T, right? And obviously the Eastern counterpart that will not be named, I guess, for this show.
You can say those are playing extra road games.
Seen them catch a bit of flack, for what they're doing, and rightfully it kind of puts us at a disadvantage too, right? With Winnipeg and Saskatchewan having 10 home games next year. But it's just nice, and I'm looking forward to see what the schedule looks like, right? Too, because naturally the FIFA World Cup's going on until about mid-July, right? So that leaves about 6-7 weeks. There for these two Kelowna games to take place, and see, naturally there's a Canada Day weekend around there too, so that I think that has some excitement too if those games are line up around there. And Kelowna and Canada Day and Kelowna to begin with is a time, so never mind with BC Lions football going on there. So that would be a really cool weekend if that presents itself.
And let's not forget Langford preseason at Starlight Stadium. That was a cool initiative last year, and we have great fans on Vancouver Island as the Okanagan, and that's again, I'll bring it up. Touchdown Pacific, just seeing fans not just on the island, but from the Lower Mainland, from other parts of the province.
Two fans we have from Vernon, I forgot their names. They drove
Teresa and Gary.
Yeah, they drove all the way.
The Wongs. Yeah.
They drove all the way from Vernon to Calgary to watch us play. So, for them, having a couple of home games in Kelowna is going to be money, because there are a lot of loyal fans. There's actually a woman that I met in Ashcroft. There's like this ranch they have there that has like food and flowers, and it's a Mexican theme type ranch with all the food and stuff that they have there. And she's one of the cashiers. She drives down for every home game from Ashcroft, right?
Yeah.
So she was telling me about.
Love hearing that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a person there who, obviously will love having a home game in Kelowna a lot closer than Vancouver.
A quick trivia question for you guys. Lions and Langford this year, first touchdown. Who scored it?
Ooh, was it Jermaine Jackson?
Nope, he scored the second one. That's a good guess.
No.
I used that in the promo, Jermaine Jackson.
Hit me.
Remember, it was a tip ball.
The kid who blew out his knee.
Unfortunately, that's how his training camp ended.
Yeah. What was the wide receiver? Remember the big tall guy was looking really good, and then he blew out his.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, David Durden.
Right.
Durden. Yes, there you
So
go.
he wasn't a good, unfortunate end to his training camp, but that's a good trivia question.
Minor league
baseball
player with the
Red Sox. He was a Red
By
Sox
the way,
draft pick.
I just looked it up on the phone. It's Angela from Ashcroft. So, Angela, if you're listening, big shout out.
Thank you, Angela. All right. First and Now is presented in part by Hullo Ferries, proud island transportation partner of the BC Lions. Go easy, go Hullo. It's a good way to get to Langford next May, perhaps.
Most definitely.
All right, Jevon Cottoy, how close is he to returning from his ankle injury? Was doing a bit at practice out there today on Tuesday. And we'll talk World Vision Walk for Water with number 86 next on First and Now. Back on First and Now, brought to you by Main Road Group, your roads, your team, connecting communities and driving your legacy. It's Matt Baker alongside the MOJ and Nik Kowalski. We'll talk more about this huge matchup with the Stampeders on Saturday, 4 o'clock kickoff, Upper Bowl open. Tickets starting at $19. Head to bclions.com/gravy bowl. But Sunday, McLeod Stadium, 1 p.m. is our World Vision Walk for Water 6K walk. It's a great event, and joining us right now is BC Lions wide receiver and World Vision ambassador Jevon Cottoy, Young Jev on Instagram. Sir, how you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you for having me today. Appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Let's start by talking about this special event, Walk for Water. For those who haven't heard and listened to your history with this great project, explain what's going on here Sunday in Langley, Jevon.
Yeah, so we're doing kind of like a simulation of kind of like a day-to-day life for, the individuals in Taveta, Kenya. That's the place we visited back in April. They walk every single day, up to 20 kilometers per day. So the 6K walk is like a cakewalk to some people over there. We did, I think it was 1.7 one way and maybe 1.9 back. But no, it's just a good initiative that World Vision is doing. Every single year they do something different, but this one is to build wells in Taveta, Kenya, because of the shortage and the cleanliness of the water that the people over there are receiving. So, if you're signed up, registered, amazing. The more people, the more help we can get is phenomenal. And hopefully we see you guys on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be out there, and it's bclions.com/6K to register and donate. Over 21,000 raised so far, so that's excellent. We're pushing toward that $100,000 goal.
Hey, Jevon, you touched on it, your visit to Kenya. I remember talking to Bo Lacumbo the year that he went, or after he came back, the year that he went, and he said it was a life-changing experience for him. What type of impact did it have on you?
Yeah, man. Bo also rhymes too. I went with rhymes to this year, but he's been doing it for the past 3 years. The type of impact it's kind of left on me is just seeing the hardship that these people go through, especially to put more emphasis on the women. Like the women take a much bigger load in terms of like walking to get water for the household, taking the kids to school, making sure everyone's set for their days. We are big. Sorry, there's not 9 of us big guys walking with jugs over our shoulders. These women are walking it with like on their heads for up to like 5-6 kilometers. We're just shocked, right? So it puts me back in a place where, because I'm from St. Vincent, it's a third world country. And I grew up with my mom and my aunt. So my mom used to do the walk to, I think it maybe like 4 kilometers back over there when she was younger. She lives in a place called Point. She used to walk from Point to Fancy. You could search it up on Google. I'm from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but yes, it just puts things into perspective that people are still going through this in 2025, right? So we have things in place. We have stuff to do. We have a lot of stuff to do, and this is just one step forward with this walk coming up on Sunday.
Jevon, you mentioned there was 9 of you that went to Taveta, Kenya, and the 9 of you are player ambassadors from the CFL across the league, right? So who are some of the other ambassadors that, you got to maybe get to know about a little bit more and bond with over your time in Taveta, Kenya? And is anything in particular that stands out from, sharing those experiences with everybody?
Yeah, man, it was fun, eye-opening, humbling. Meeting guys like Brady and Drew, who we've been battling for the past like 3, 4, 5 years, against Winnipeg. To see those guys in like a different light, and just to see how just grounded they are as individuals, it just kind of it makes playing against them much more sweeter. You know what I mean? Like just having that. Knowing them outside of football and then just seeing their dog playing them on the field. It's amazing. Obviously, Rhymes too. Rhymes is my guy. Gino Lewis is funny. You know what I'm saying? A couple of the guys, Miles Brown. It was just a great experience, and it was just good to know people outside of football. We're just regular dudes, man.
Yep, good on you. It's a great event. And again, $40 for adults, $20 for youth 17 and under. BCLions.com/6K McLeod Stadium Sunday afternoon. And we'll see you out there for sure, among others. Should be a good day, and good on you once again. All right, football. Lions, this Lions team, winners of 3 in a row, like we've talked about. You could talk about peaking at the right time and playoff implications and all of that. But how big is the focus just on this one game right now against Calgary, Jevon?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Peaking at the right time. Teams want to play a lot better coming into like the later part of the season, right? Heading into playoffs, making sure that everyone's clicking every single facet of the game. As per how big the game is, like we treat every single week, every single game as a big game. You know what I mean? We take it day by day, play by play. But obviously, this game it means a lot more because it sets us up for being in that conversation for second place, third place, right? So we definitely got to make sure we're doing everything throughout this week of practice, making sure that everyone's locked in, staying focused on the task at hand, not looking too far ahead, but just focusing on this game coming up, which is Calgary. And we get to play our guy VA, man. VA's back in the city. It should be a good game.
Yeah, exactly. How are you feeling, by the way? You've missed the last couple of weeks, getting that ankle better. See you out there doing more and more drills each day. You hopefully on track for a quick return here?
Yes, hopefully, as the progress is going. Shout out to Kate. Shout out to Aaron. That athletic staff for staying patient. I'm being patient too. I hate missing games. I hate missing practice, but I'm just doing what is being asked to do and taking it day by day. And hopefully, I should be able to play this game. It's a huge game.
Jevon, when you talk to people about this offense, I remember talking to guys in training camp, you being one of them. Everyone was so excited with Buck Pierce's offense. I've talked to certain players on that group and, what excites them about this offense. What is it about this offense specifically that makes it so much fun to play for you?
For myself, I'd say the past couple of years, I've been known as like an inside slot receiver / tight end. Within this offense, we have guys playing all different spots on the field, especially when we do hurry up offense, right? Like it keeps defenses on their toes because they're not just programmed to know like I'm here inside, I'm either going to be blocking or running like a short route. It could be anybody doing that position, anybody doing that role. And you've seen a couple of times I've been on the outside scoring touchdowns from the outside. So it just gives me a bit more flexibility, which I enjoy, and different matchups. It's just having different matchups and taking advantage of it.
Well, mismatches, I imagine one thing. The other thing, what you mentioned as well, is just overall just understanding the concept from each different position as well, right?
Exactly. And everybody on the receiving core has a very high IQ. So we just click and we mesh well together.
You got a season high 5 touchdowns so far, Jevon, too. And I know you're still probably trying to grow that number before this regular season ends. But was that something that, a lot of these touchdowns too, they've come in the red zone, right? It's been not like a 50-yard pass like maybe 2023 where you're throwing up the peace sign. But is that something, these red zone plays that were kind of, targeted and designed up for you, is that something that you yourself, Buck Pierce, Nathan Rourke even, came into this season, trying to stir up on this offense?
Yeah, it's just having that trust, ever from training camp to this coming up to this game too. Building that trust over time. With my size, I would like to hope, and I know that we try to take advantage of it whenever we can, especially in the red zone. But also, like my mindset, not trying to be cliche, but I've kind of pledged earlier in the season that every touchdown I score, I'm donating money to World Vision 2. So when I get that ball and I'm so close to the goal line, I'm making sure like, hey, I'm not just playing for stats and like, accolades. It's really like a bigger cause now for me. And I heard that years prior when Rhymes was talking about it, doing his World Vision tour and saying that every touchdown he scores, he's going to donate. But I didn't really know about it until heading to Kenya and experiencing that and just wanting to do more than I just originally can with the team to make a bigger impact across the world too. So that also comes into play.
Yeah, most definitely for a good cause. Hey, you're someone too who barrels through defensive backs, getting into the end zone, seen it time and time again over your career. But I'm gonna flip this question toward you because earlier in the season during our media scrums, Deontay Williams claimed he's the hardest hitter in the CFL. Michael Alway says he's the hardest hitter in the CFL. I'm guessing those are number 1 and 2 in your books because you've played against these guys in the past. But are there any other guys that come to mind when it comes to the hardest guys to go up, linebackers, DBs, whomever?
Yeah, man, I'm so blessed that I'm on the same team with those two guys that you mentioned because seeing those guys on the other side of the field, that's scary. In terms of like in the league, I haven't really been seeing any big hits, other than, Tay like doing his thing, right? Um, no, I can't really think of one right now. But for anybody who's going up against our defense, man, good luck. Especially now too, once we're clicking too, good luck.
Hey, one of the things that's always impressed me about your game is your skill set. Not only are you a great receiver and you pick up the extremely difficult yardage after the catch, you're physical with the football, but it's also about the blocking, right? And I think of you and David Mackey as kind of being unicorns. Of course, Mackey being retired now, but guys that can do just about anything that's asked of them. How much pride do you take in being the all-around player that you are?
Yeah. This goes back into my first year here, coming out of like the junior football ranks. No one really thinks of you much. So any opportunity I got on the field, which is special teams, offense, obviously initially I wasn't perceived as like a big time receiving target coming into the offense. I was perceived as the R, block here, check down here. Coming into the league, Mike Riley thought I was a DN, so I had to overcome those hurdles too, right? So no, man, any chance I get, whether it's blocking, like I said, special teams, catching the rock and making sure I finish touchdown drives, if the ball's thrown at me, I take huge pride in making sure I make it count when the ball comes my way.
Okay, you said Mike Riley thought you were a defensive end. Tell us, there's got to be a story there, right?
Yeah, man. Funny story. This is back in 2019. I was signed in the off season. So in the off season, a lot of guys, who are local, want to get some extra work in before, training camp gets started. We meet up at the turf field in Surrey. So it was Mike Riley, it was Brian Burnham, Shaq Johnson, Lamar Durant, and myself was there, right? So I'm a rookie. No one really knows me. They don't watch junior football. It's not like a big thing, right, for these Americans. So we're just running routes. They know I'm on the team, but they haven't seen film or anything. And I'm doing a couple slants, digs, go balls. And I hear like maybe a couple of days after, I think it was Burnham or Lamar Durant telling me like, yo, did you know, like Mike was a little bit confused as to why you were here. Like, he was saying like, who is this tall DN catching routes? Like he looks good, he's moving smooth, but who is this guy? So I had to overcome those hurdles, man, and just make a day for myself.
That's a good story.
It's a great story. Hey, before we let you go, you mentioned the junior football angle, and you've been out for a couple of weeks. How much pride do you get in seeing a Kieran Poisson come in and making catches? Of course, a proud grad of the West Shore Rebels program in BCFC. Great exposure for the BCFC all around. Hey, Jevon?
100%, man. A lot of us usually get looked past, and Kieran's doing his thing. He's stepping in for, myself. I've been hurt, but he also knows every single position. So if anybody gets hurt at any given moment, he steps into that position. And having a player like that, the coach trusts, it's a huge deal. And coming from the junior ranks again, we have to keep working. All we know is work. You know what I mean? And he's putting in the work, and it's obviously paying off. I think he's 100% right now on like catches, or pretty close to that. So he's making his opportunity when the ball comes his way, and he's also a killer on special teams. I'm talking about kickoff, punt. Nobody can stop when nobody's running with him. He's running past guys, so he's definitely doing what he's being asked to do.
Hey, just stay clear of Jacob Bond, because I saw he's making Sean White wear Okanagan's son shirts to the game. Yeah, because his son is rolling right now.
His son's rolling. West Shore's rolling right now. Rams like a little bit of a slump, but the season's not over yet. We just got to finish strong and make sure we gear up for next season, because I don't think this season is looking too bright.
There you go. Hey, thanks for this. And once again, Sunday, McLeod Stadium, bclions.com/6K, our World Vision Walk for Water. Look forward to seeing you out there and before.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. And shout out Trigger Mike, man, Mike Riley.
Yes. We'll have to hit him up next time we're down in Seattle. Jevon Cottoy joining us on First and Now. Will continue to tee up the Gravy Bowl against Calgary, and a big BC Lions signing to touch on from today as well, coming up.
This Thanksgiving, the BC Lions invite you to gather with family, friends, and fellow fans at the famous Gravy Bowl, presented by BC Turkey. Saturday, October 4th at 4 p.m., the Lions face the Calgary Stampeders. Before kickoff, come together at the backyard party for free Thanksgiving turkey plates, $5 beers, and all the good times of a fall football feast. Celebrate togetherness. Tickets start at just $19. Get yours now at bclions.com.
First and Now is presented in part by Hullo Ferries, proud island transportation partner of the BC Lions. Go easy, go Hullo. Lions and Stampeders, Able Auctions pregame show, 3 o'clock. We'll talk about all the special events going on before we are done. We've got Kowalski's world-famous trivia. But the BC Lions, with some pretty solid news to start the Tuesday. I had a feeling this might be coming after he was in attendance last Friday. A second-round draft pick, Hayden Harris, a defensive end out of Montana, has signed with the team. They expect him to be active this week. He did not practice on Tuesday. He had just passed his physical. Expect him out there tomorrow and Thursday. Ryan Rigmaiden, Neil McAvoy, very excited about this addition, Moj.
Yeah, they had him as the top player rated on their board heading into the 2025 draft. Of course, he fell to the second round, 11th overall, because of the fact that he was going to give the NFL a try. Of course, went to the Bills, got cut there, had to work out with the Bears. That didn't work out either, but good news for the Lions. And here's the thing, too. Not only does he pass the eyeball test, big, tall kid, 6'5", 255 or whatever the number is. I had the opportunity to talk to him after practice, and he has maturity beyond his years. Like, you feel like you're talking to a guy who's been in the league for 4 or 5 years. So when I read the press release that Riggs was quoted also getting a terrific teammate, I think that's a big part as well. A guy that, is going to fit in. You have to be careful of that, because when you add players, okay, great. It's adding a player. How's he going to perform? Okay, fine. He's going to help your team. But what about the intangibles? How does he fit in with the rest of the group? Does this guy have an ego? Is he difficult to coach? But, I think when you look at Hayden Harris, he ticks all the boxes on the positive side. So not only a good addition in terms of what he's going to bring on the field, but also in the room as well.
Yeah, and from a logistical standpoint, too, it's just great depth, right? You got Matthew Betts obviously starting at a defensive end position. And this team, a lot of special teams injuries, right? With the Canadians, Isaiah Messham's gone down, Adam Konar recently too, right? So guys like Anthony Bennett, Woodley Apollon have had to dress like kind of right off the street.
Cam Foran.
Yeah, right. So, it's tough to find quality Canadians, and obviously,
Okay, like, can we get one thing straight here? When you say Canadians, can we put like the air quotes in it?
hey, he's qualified.
Born in Mill Creek.
Qualified.
He's a Seattle boy.
His mom came up to Canada for a weekend to go shopping when she was 6 months pregnant. Boom, he's a Canadian.
Hey, qualified.
Plant that maple leaf, baby.
I love that. That's, you know what? All kidding aside, I mean, it opens up the pool for quote Canadian players, but I kind of chuckle sometimes.
I was watching the Monday Night Football at Shark Club yesterday, actually, and I was telling him, I was like, you see that Singleton guy? I was talking to my buddy. I'm like, he was a Calgary Stampeder.
He was born and raised in Thousand Oaks, California, was Alex Singleton.
Stop
calling him Canadian.
Yeah. Same situation, though. He qualified as a national.
Yeah,
That's how the rules go. So that's a huge addition, in my opinion.
He had an uncle who was in witness protection living in Leduc, Alberta, so that qualified him to be Canadian.
Second round pick.
His uncle likes 50 mission cap. No. Hey,
listen, don't.
No, I know. I'm not going to go there anymore. Jokes aside, I was talking to Ryan Rigmaiden after we put this out, and with Jackson Finley and Hayden Harris, the top 2 picks, good football players, both essentially local guys. That's what they love, right? And we're going to see how he fits in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him play. And if it's anything, what we've seen from Levi Bell and Bradley and I, those 2 guys have come in and been great additions, and hopefully Hayden Harris can continue the trend.
And we didn't touch on Finley off the top, but if Harris is half the player Finley's been so far, I think that's a hit because Finley just keeps ascending, right? I think he's quietly over double-digit special teams tackles now, so a contributor there. And obviously in his first start for the injured Christophe Beaulieu, Finley comes down with his first interception, and the sky's the limit for that guy, I'm telling you.
Well said. A couple more minutes before we get to trivia. Now, we're not going to do all the mathematic scenarios and everything. We think, Moj, a win for the Lions here would clinch a playoff spot. So you do the math, they'd be better than Ottawa and Toronto, guaranteed by the end of the year. Possibility of 3-way ties, maybe with Edmonton and Winnipeg. We'll wait for the official note from Steve Daniel, our statistician and team historian, sends out the scenarios every Thursday, I think it is. But all the scenarios aside, plenty of implications at stake here. You can sweep this Calgary team in the season series. You're on the inside track potentially for second place.
You know, I understand the point that you're making, but I sure hope that, the players aren't thinking that. And I say that because the most important game on your schedule, you know what it is? It's the next one, right?
Yeah.
The next game for the Lions is Calgary. Just continue to build the momentum and go through the process that's seen you win 3 games in a row. And just keep doing that and let the chips fall where they may. But just keep doing what you've done. Strive to improve, of course. But to me, the big thing is just go out there and play. Don't worry about all the tiebreakers and who goes where and does this and does that. If we beat them and they beat them, and if we win here, no, just win the football game. That's all you got to worry about.
No, and even we're kind of talking in the first segment how it's sunshine and rainbows and it's a 3-game win streak and all these things. The BC Lions are still in 4th place in the West Division right now. So it's that time of the year where you have to treat every game like it is a playoff game, right? Like these are must-win games down the stretch. We've seen firsthand these past couple of years how difficult it is to go into Regina, how difficult it is to go into Winnipeg and win a playoff game, right? So while you are in control of your own destiny per se, need a little bit of a help from the out-of-town scoreboard, you got to take care of your own business and see how the cards fall and go from there.
And, the other thing, too, is you have to look at the big picture. Look at the process of how you got that win. And, football is so crazy. I mean, we always talk about those 5 plays. What happens if Betts doesn't get a strip sack and Woods doesn't recover the fumble? What happens if Toronto, maybe on the next play, there's a bust and there's a touchdown and Toronto goes on and wins the game, right? So, you have to look at everything. Yeah, okay, the Lions were on the right side of those 5 plays against the Argos. And, that's because they focused on the process and they can, you always hear the story about one play at a time, but literally sometimes that's all it boils down to is a couple of plays in a game, and you just got to be on the right side of it. And you do that by being focused on the task at hand.
Obviously, this is going to be a very fired up Calgary team, given how it went 2 weeks ago, and they had another setback in Montreal. What do you expect? First, I was going to ask, what's a big key for the Lions here this week?
I think run the football. I
Yeah.
mean, you've seen Calgary the last couple of weeks not be able to stop the run, not be able to contain quarterbacks. So you talk about demoralizing. There's probably nothing more demoralizing in the game of football when you know the run is coming and you can't stop it. And to me, that's a big key because you're just imposing your will on the other team when you do that. So I think Calgary has shown a susceptibility the last couple of weeks to give up a lot of yards along the ground. Don't give these guys any life. Get off to a fast start. Don't give them any confidence. Get them in a 14-0 hole, and they start feeling like they have the last 2 weeks. So for me, it's about imposing your will and coming out hot.
Yeah, and I think the Stampeders have been feeling some type of way of how these past 2 games have gone for them, right? Allowing a lot of points. They just went to Montreal and lost by double digits, but appears help is on the way for the Stampeders defense. Marquel Lee, for a name, for those who don't know, he was a middle linebacker for Calgary, came onto the scene really hot with 15 tackles in the first 1.5 games for the Stampeders, and he's practicing after a bicep injury. And then obviously Lorenzo Malden, the 2022 most outstanding defensive player, they acquired him in a trade this week. So that's going to be a good challenge, right? And then, I mean, we're not losing. Jevon Cottoy brought up in his interview that it's Vernon Adams Jr.'s return to BC. So we had that storyline 2 weeks ago with how important this game was for the quarterbacks, although they're not talking about it or admitting it publicly. I'm sure it's going to be just on top of their minds too, right? They got to show out. It's going to be a big crowd at BC Place, and it's one of those West Division games you live for. You
know, it's interesting too. You talk about Malden. You talk to anybody in Ottawa, he's been a disappointment this year. He hasn't performed to the levels that we've seen in the past. But gets traded to Calgary. Maybe that's just kind of a little bit of a shot in the arm, rejuvenates him. So that's something that I look at in this game that kind of concerns me, is just how much juice Lorenzo Malden's going to have.
Yep, chance to get back to the playoffs for him too. No doubt should be a shot in the arm. All right, we'll tee up the Gravy Bowl festivities and wrap it up with Kowalski's famous trivia coming up on First and Now on 730 CKNW. First and Now is brought to you by Main Road Group, your roads, your team, connecting communities and driving your legacy. Kowalski's world famous trivia. Got that right. World famous in just a minute. But first, reminding everyone, it's the Gravy Bowl presented by BC Turkey, noon on Terry Fox Plaza. We have turkey carvings while supplies last, a little early Thanksgiving brunch, let's call it. Our president, Dwayne Vanneau, will be out there carving. Jordan, our producer, I think, is carving too. No? Getting the thumbs down?
He's just eating.
Yeah. I think I might have to make an appearance up there.
Man.
Free turkey carvings, a pie eating contest, expanded beer garden, $5 Molson Coors beverages for those 19 and over. Inside, of course, Solomon Elimimian goes to the Wall of Fame, well-deserved all-time leading tackles for the BC Lions, a Hall of Famer. Will have his number 56 retired, effective at the end of the season. Of course, Christian Covington wearing it now. Tickets starting at $19. Act fast. Upper Bowl is open. We're expecting about 30,000 here. It's going well on Saturday. So bclions.com/The Gravy Bowl. $19 tickets, Nikki. All right, what do we got?
All right, so we talked about last Friday night being milestone night, right? McInnes, Butler. Alway was one of those players. Micah Alway getting
1,000 tackles.
100 tackles.
1,000.
Sorry.
Man, you talk about being a machine.
Yeah, put Scully to shame. What I meant to say was 1,000 for McInnes and Butler, 100 tackles for Alway.
It feels like 1,000 for Micah.
1,000 yards.
These guys have been everywhere. So Micah Alway became the 10th BC Lion to have 100 tackles in a season. I want you guys to name the other 9 players. And for reference, per the CFL website, individual defensive tackles first became a statistic in 1987. So
okay,
the legendary Lions before
Elimimian, Big Hill.
There you go. You got 2 off the bat. Those are the
Anton McKenzie.
Anton McKenzie. So I actually looked this up because I thought he was a correct answer. He had 99 in his year, which hurts, right? Because that's something that these players definitely have in mind.
Since 87, you're saying.
Who was the rookie of the year that 1 year, the linebacker? Paul Lacoste.
Paul Lacoste, yeah.
His name out there.
Paul Lacoste did not reach that milestone.
Did not?
Yeah.
You got a couple of legendary Lions.
Javi Glatt.
Javi Glatt did not. I think he led them in like 05 though 1 year.
Okay.
Because I went through every single year just to make sure.
Jamal Johnson.
Jamal Johnson is not a correct answer
No,
either.
no.
You're in the right track though. Like kind of that era, that kind of linebacker.
Wow.
So here's some years. So the most recent guy to do before Alway was 2023.
2023. Josh
Ben
Wood.
Vladeck.
Ben Haladic
Oh, there you go.
in 2023. Remember, it was the same game as the Matthew Betts Canadian record.
Yes.
Remember, it was
Is
a
it-
big
Oh,
big
okay.
quarter,
Yeah.
actually, I remember.
Vladeck had over 100. That's right.
Yep. So then you got a guy. So here's your years. You have 02, 01, and then 91, 90.
Baron
80.
Simpson,
Baron Simpson. in
Ooh,
2001.
nicely
That's a
played.
good guess. Yeah. So you have 2002,
the Minister of Defense, Baron Simpson.
1991, 1990, 1989, and 1988.
1988. Ty Cruz.
Incorrect.
Michael Gray.
Incorrect.
Ooh,
You guys just keep throwing out names here.
yeah, at this point.
1980. See, I should know this one. 19.
Right in your wheelhouse.
No, it's
yeah.
just at the tail end of the wheelhouse.
Yeah,
That's when
okay.
things start getting fuzzy. Late 80s.
Oh, 2002.
Give me some initials.
So 87 or 88 is JB.
JB.
Yeah, not to be confused with James Butler. He only hit 100 tackles. His career path was BC, Edmonton, Toronto, Ottawa. So played 1 year with the Lions.
Banks.
JB.
JB. Give it to us.
Jeff Braswell.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's a
Good,
good
one.
one.
Yeah.
91 is a pretty legendary figure. He's the initials are probably going to give it away. It's OB, but there's a
OJ
Brigance.
Brigance.
OJ
Yeah.
Brigance. Yeah,
Great
so
dude.
Great. Very good guy.
1991, you hit that milestone with the Lions. 1990, pretty good line. I know you guys have talked about this guy before.
1990.
First name starts with a W. Last name
Um,
starts with a P.
WP.
I believe this guy played a bunch of years for the Lions. I'll just
Give it to
confirm
us.
that right
We're
now.
tight here.
We're tight. Willie Pless.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Man,
And
we're
then
slow today, Banks. This is
19
brutal. Willie Plus.
1989 is one of them.
Doug Flutie.
yeah.
Did he have one?
No, traded. Flutie for Plus.
That's right.
So
Yep.
1989 is another one. AJ. Are the
Alondra Johnson.
Alondra
There we go.
Johnson.
I was kidding about Alondra
Yeah.
Johnson earlier.
Yeah.
I said, Moj, she never played for the Lions. And there's the other part of my brain's going, yeah, he did. Moj, the right side's going, no, he didn't.
So
I was going to actually guess Alondra Johnson.
we
back
have
in the
one
day.
more guy, 2002.
This is gonna kill me.
I was telling Jordan earlier, our producer, that I'm scared to say this guy's name live on air because it's a difficult name. That might give it away. for you guys.
2002.
BA.
Brendan
Yeah.
Iambadejo.
Thank you for saying it, Baker.
Yes,
That's
there you go.
correct.
There we go.
I was scared to say that one live on air, not
Yeah.
butcher it for Brendan.
There we go.
So,
Not
there's-
bad.
there's our
We
list.
pulled a couple out of the hat.
got
Yeah,
a
not
couple.
bad.
I think it's kind of fitting too that Solomon is tied in there too with his, obviously you said his number
Yep.
getting retired on Saturday. So see the two of the legendary linebackers live.
Never forget the first ever road game I worked for the team as the social media guy in 2016.
Oh, don't tell me. The Franklin interview?
No,
Oh, okay.
the Franklin. No, this
With
was
somebody.
this was week 2, a big win in Hamilton, 28-3. Solomon had just returned from blowing his Achilles out the year before, and he was just emotional. He
Mhm.
recorded all these tackles, and remember, I interviewed him post game on the field.
I still love that halftime interview with Jermaine Franklin from TSN.
Yeah,
When the guy started
Look at who you are. Yeah,
keep walking.
is that going to work into the tribute? I hope so.
Yeah, definitely. It's an iconic moment from Solly. I know he plays too on the field too. I know Gary Peters kind of
Yeah,
has that one in his arsenal too, as an OG of the game. So I love when players pull that one out.
love it. All right, fellas, well done. Gravy Bowl Saturday, 3:00, Able Auctions pregame show. And stay tuned to bclions.com, our YouTube page. Moj will have a column for bclions.com in the next couple days, as per usual. And that's a wrap on First and Now. No show next week. Should remind folks, 2 weeks from now, a week from next Tuesday, we're at the Brownsville Pub, Old Yale Road in Surrey, on location. That's a wrap on First and Now.
Thanksgiving comes early at the Gravy Bowl. Join the BC Lions Saturday, October 4th at 4 p.m. against the Stamps. Free turkey plates, $5 beers, and tickets from just $19. Get yours now at bclions.com.
All right, and the special bonus for those listening on the podcast edition of First and Now, it's that time where we welcome in Cam Tucker from BCLC and PlayNow.com, and we'll keep the tradition going. Cam, all these 49er injuries I think I'm suiting up on Thursday night.
You know what, Matt, I think we've seen this movie before. And right now, you know what? Hey, this, we saw this last year with the 49ers, seen it this year. It's tough. Injuries are part of football. The Seahawks haven't been bit by the injury bug that bad. So this is something that over the course of the season, you never know how these things turn out.
Yeah, and sorry, fellas, my Colts couldn't get it done against the Rams last week, though. That was fun. So,
well, that's what we get for putting our faith in the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm still not.
Danny Dimes.
He was good.
He was good. He was good.
Just some miscues.
Hey, that's football. Sometimes things just go haywire. And let's talk about some more exciting topics, though, shall we?
Yeah.
Lions Stampeders for the second time in 3 weeks. Cam, BC opening up as a 4-point favorite.
Yeah, really, really exciting opportunity here for the BC Lions. They're eyeing up their 4th straight win. So I'm not surprised that the Lions right now opened up as favorites. BC's hot. Calgary is not. The Stampeders right now just don't look quite like the same team that they were in the summer. They've obviously had to deal with some injuries over the past few weeks, but they're coming back down to earth a little bit. And the Lions right now are surging. This is kind of the time of the season when you want to be hot. You want to start playing your best football. I'm looking out the window right now. The skies are dark. There's rain on the horizon. The leaves are changing colors. It's cool. It's starting to get into that football that fall football weather. And, the Lions are playing really good right now. So we'll see how they do it on Saturday against the Stampeders. And the other thing too, guys, the Lions, a couple of big milestones here. If they can get this win, it's their 9th victory of the season. And remember, their over-under for total wins on the season was 9.5. So we're getting closer to that mark. And then for the BC Lions right now, I mean, they are right behind the Calgary Stampeders in terms of the Grey Cup odds as well, plus 500 for the BC Lions at PlayNow. The Stamps were just a little bit above them. So this is one that if the Lions can reel off their 4th straight win here, they probably will surpass Calgary, I'd imagine, in terms of the Grey Cup odds. And then you look at the West standings, there's 3 teams. There's a logjam for second with the Stamps, the Lions, and the Blue Bombers at 16 points. So this is a big game because there's home playoff field advantage in the first round of the playoffs as well. So lots to keep our eye on here, but the Lions are rolling, and so I'm not surprised that they opened as 4-point favorites.
Yeah, crunch time in the CFL, as they say. But 2 other games on the slate this week. What are your eyes on for the rest of the CFL schedule, Cam?
I think that for me, the one that I'm keeping my eye on is the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 4-point favorites going into Ottawa on Friday. And the Lions need a favor here. The Lions need a favor from the Ottawa Red Blacks. If the BC has any hope of winning the division, it's got to be, Ottawa's got to have an upset over Saskatchewan this week. Ottawa's really struggling right now. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. They're 2-3 against the spread in that span. And you look at the matchup over the years, traditionally Saskatchewan has kind of owned this matchup here. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 matchups. So that's one that I'm eyeing with the Rough Riders, obviously inching closer to that West Division title, and then the berth in the first round of the playoffs, the bye in the first week of the playoffs. And the Lions, they need an upset, so I'm keeping my eye on that game.
Yeah, we need a crumb back, damn it, as I say.
Yes.
No, just joking. But odds boost, Cam, always ended with this. It's early, it's Tuesday, but what are we cooking up for the odds boost on PlayNow?
Yeah, so right now, I'm looking at Keon Hatcher as a player that I want to include in my odds boost for this week. What a remarkable season Keon's had. 1,400 receiving yards this year. He's just piling up these big games. And looking at his numbers over the last 6 games, I think he's hit at least 80 plus receiving yards in 5 of those 6 games, which is really impressive. He had 140 plus receiving yards against Calgary just a couple of weeks ago. And so I think Keon Hatcher is going to be included in that odds boost. And then we'll probably be looking at, something like the Lions money line or maybe the Lions point spread as well, given that this is quite a significant game in the standings and the Lions are rolling right now.
Well said, my friend. We will keep tracking all of this, and we'll look for you on the pregame panel with more great odds and insight. And we'll do this again in 2 weeks. No show next week due to the bye, but we'll be at the Brownsville pub in 2 weeks' time. Looking forward to it.
There we go, fellas. Take care.
Cam Tucker from BCLC, PlayNow.com, formerly of Post Media. I think they retired his number. We're talking about
I'm up in the
Solly getting
rafters
his
of the
number retired.
the Vancouver Sun building on Granville Street. So
Yes, still
Yeah.
there in the rubble somewhere. Thank you, sir. And we'll be back in 2 weeks on First and Now.